I've been fishing professionally for over 31 years now, and sometimes I get incorrectly labeled as a bass angler. And even though I fished Bassmaster tournaments and did a lot of serious tournament fishing for a lot of years, nowadays when there's no camera around and nothing is serious and I'm not working, I do one thing and one thing only. I go crappie fishing. I live for the thump. Hey, I'm glad you're along because we're going to explain what that is and how it affects you coming up next, because this is Fox Sports Outdoors.
It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southeast region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Sports South.
Some folks call them paper mouths. Some folks over in Cajun country, Louisiana and Mississippi, call them sockeye. I call them crappie. Whatever you call them, we crappie anglers live for one thing and one thing only. We live for the thump. You drop the crappie jig down there where that crappie's hanging, he sucks it in, and you feel that thump on the end of your line, and it is game on. Hey, I'm excited you're along with us on this week's episode because we're going to take the time to show you some tips and techniques that will help you fill your cooler with some great tasting, great fighting crappie at a local lake or reservoir near you. To help us do that, this is Cedar Creek Lake. It's located in East Central Texas. While we're doing that, we're taking you around your local region for your fishing reports for the week from our expert team of insider reporters. We're in for a lot of fun. This boat goes in Cedar Creek Lake, and you go back to the studio for your weekend planner where it all gets started.
Hi everyone. Overall, the fishing outlooks for both days this weekend are listed as fair. The Salooner tables indicate that peak morning times will start at 6:12 on Saturday and 7:06 on Sunday, and the best afternoon activity will take place around dusk. Look for the sun to rise at 7:22 and set at 7:09, and evenings will feature a moon that is 62% visible. We'll be right back with freshwater and coastal fishing updates from around the region. Stay with us.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. By Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And by Lowrance Electronics. Find, navigate, dominate.
As you can see, I've got my Lowrance HDS Gen 3 unit here, and we've run across a brush pile right there where my finger is. That's the 2D traditional sonar image of a piece of brush hanging on the bottom. There is the down scan image of that same brush pile. Now, crappie love to get on brush piles year round. In fact, I'm going to throw a marker buoy back over my shoulder there to just give us a general idea of where it is, and we'll circle back on it. Three different kinds of brush we want to talk about. Number one is Corps of Engineers brush piles. All around our region, the Corps puts out big brush piles that they sink, and they usually mark them with a buoy. Second is man-made brush. People go out and cut willows and cut cedar trees, put haydite blocks on them, sink them to the bottom. Crappie love those. And the third kind of brush is natural trees that just grow up off the bottom or have fallen over and are laying on the floor of the lake. That's the brush that we're going to try to fish here beginning. Let it go down, right above that brush. Got him. How about that? That feels crappie. All right, there's a good start. And just like clockwork, we've got one keeper in the boat already. A little spinning rod, a small, about a 1/16 ounce Bobby Garland Moglo jig head with a, I'll show you the baits and stuff a little bit later, but a little swimming tail on the back. You let it swim across the top of that brush and thump. We've got one thump in the boat already. These fish go in the live well today. Let's get you some fishing and lake reports from your local area.
Hey folks, time for your Carolinas report. This week brought to you by Marshall's Marine, located in Lake City and Georgetown, South Carolina. We're your bass boat leader since 1969, and for all your nitro and bass tracker needs, visit www.marshallsmarine.com. We're going to stay on the saltwater side of things this week, and remember, October 16th and 17th is the Key West Boats Marshall's Marine King Mackerel Shootout out of Marlin Quay Marina. Visit Marlin Quay Marina for more information. Also, on the saltwater side of things, let's go offshore. The wahoo, blackfin tuna, and dolphin are making that run. You can get a good mixed bag if you get out there on a nice calm day Find some bait, find a temperature break, you're gonna have a great time. Moving inshore a little bit, the grouper continue to be a great species to target. Get out there on those live bottom areas with live pinfish. Get out there with a 4 or 5 foot leader of 80 to 100 pound fluorocarbon, and you're gonna fool those fish into biting. Also, moving inshore a little bit more, we got the mackerel. The Spanish and Kings continue to be a great species to target. Around the mouths of your jetties and inlets, you're going to find a Spanish mackerel in great numbers right now as those mullet and glass minnows are making the migration along the beach, and also the live bottom areas where you normally target king mackerel this time of the year. Get out there with some good live bait and get ready to catch your big king mackerel of the season. Back in the creeks, the trout early morning bite is incredible. Get out with a voodoo shrimp under a popping cork or a Zara Spook Jr. walk the dog and have a great time targeting those speckled trout. And as well, the flounder are still in the creeks. Good live bait or an artificial gulp shrimp will fool them into a good bite. You can catch some great flounder this time of the year. This has been your Carolinas Report, sponsored by Marshall's Marine. Remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're talking about catching crappie, and here's the next lesson for you. A lot of crappie live around floating boat houses and boat docks and piers. Now you can see here we've got a big old structure here, and there's a lot of shade and a lot of cover from these piers back under these docks, but the way you've got to get a bait to it, or to them, is you've got to shoot it in there. So I'll show you the setup that you'll need later, but you grab the bait, you flex the rod tip all the way back like this, and you simply let go. Takes a little practice, but you shoot it all the way back in that shade, way back to the back. You let it go to the bottom, and then you gently lift it up, and you just start letting it swim back in and swing. Got him. Right where he's supposed to be. Pretty good pull right there. Yeah, that's a good crappie. There we go. Shoot it all the way back under there. Let it go to the bottom and swim it, let it swing back. This is that Stren Crappie Mono, and it's the gold color, and it's really cool because it's dark. As you can see back under this dock right here, it's dark in there. And so I can flip this line or shoot this line all the way back in the back end, and I can see my line as it swings back, and I'm just watching that line, watching that line. A lot of times the bites will be really subtle. They're sitting back in that dark and they just open their mouth, inhale it, and you've just got to watch for a little bit of subtle movement in that line. A little dart sideways, maybe it goes halfway down and stops. Anything out of the ordinary, you set the hook, and you can catch a big old slab crappie just like that. Time right now for more Fishing and Lake Reports.
This part of the program is brought to you by Coastal Georgia Inshore Charters on St. Simons Island, Georgia. Captain Tim Cutting is the man to see for Golden Isles family-style angling for flounder, redfish, sea trout, and other species too. Well, it's finally October, and some of the best fall fishing of the year is on tap. We're coming off the full moon, and that's going to mean that tides are a little bit better for fishing in some of the coastal areas, like in Georgia, where the tides are just huge. So we're coming off that full moon, and that's going to really increase the, good fishing for bull redfish around the inlets and the passes and around the barrier islands along the coast of Georgia. There'll still be some real good coastal fishing up in the marsh areas during high flood tides along the coast of Georgia. That's great sight fishing. The fly rod guys really get after them at that time of the tide phase, and they hit a wide variety of lures and also baits. Flounder fishing in the creeks can still be good all through this month, and the fish should get a little bit bigger with some 2 and 3 pounders being caught around shell bars at the mouths of creeks and around the inlets too. Trout fishing is going to be better in the clear water areas, usually closer to the sounds and the passes. In Mississippi and Alabama, red fishing is the word. The Dixie Bar in Alabama is a great place for big bull reds, and in Mississippi the fish are still around the bait pods. Up inside the marshes they're catching reds there too. Most of those are slot fish. Well, that's it for the coastal South. Get out on the water and take a youngster with you when you go.
This week's Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi Freshwater Fishing Report is brought to you by Gadsden, Alabama. One of Northeast Alabama's premier tournament bass fisheries, Gadsden gives the angler everything you could need close by. Convenient boat ramps, hotels, and dining make the Coosa River and Neely Henry Lake experience one to remember. Now, October's arrived, and with it, the fall fishing is in full swing across the deep south. Virtually every species is biting throughout the region. Now's the time to head up to the Alabama portion of Pickwick Lake on the Tennessee River for some smallmouth bass action. These fish run big with the possibility of some 6-pounders here. Target the upper end of the lake in the tailwater of Wilson Dam. The water releases of 50 to 100,000 cubic feet per second really gets the smallmouths moving. Lures to throw are 4 to 6 inch swim baits in 3/4 to 1 1/4 ounce sizes. That gets down in the current. You can also try throwing an Alabama rig here. In South Mississippi, Lake Jeff Davis is hot right now for largemouth action. This 100-acre state fishing lake is south of Prentice and it's full of flooded willow trees. Throwing red or green plastic lures around the base of those is a good tactic. In northwest Georgia, Carter's Lake is good right now for spotted bass action. You want to be targeting deep wood structure and expect to catch 15 to 18 inch fish here. The lures to be using are flukes on a drop shot rig or jigging spoons.
Okay. Way back under there. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. All right. Well, we got it working. You get a cast all the way back under the dock, let it go to the bottom, swing it back. These bad boys live under there, you get you a live well full. That's 2 good ones in a row, right out of basically the same spot.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Lew's, setting a new standard of fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And by Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
Got him. All right, that's a decent fish. Okay. All right, welcome back everybody. We're still at Cedar Creek Lake today. And you can see right here behind me, see the buoy floating right there. And I found an area here that's got several pieces of brush. Found it on my side scan imaging, just driving around out here, 12, 13, 14, 15 feet of water, something like that. That one's going right here in the live well. And I've got my marker right here. You can see it right there. But the brush is about 15 feet to the left of it, and I know where it is now, and I've thrown that buoy there. 2 different ways to fish it. One is to pitch it out, let it go down to just above the brush top. So I know this brush is in probably 13, 14 feet, and it comes up a little bit, so I want my bait down about 10. So I get it down somewhere around 10 feet, pick up your rod tip, and let that bait swing back across the top of the brush pile. It's a horizontal presentation. A lot of times that will trigger a strike from a crappie. Now the second way is you get straight up over the top of the brush. So you look at your sonar, come right on top of the brush, open your bail, drop that bait straight down in the brush, let it get to the brush, lift up on that rod tip, hold it steady, and give it little small pops like that of the rod tip. And the pop on a crappie is a drop of the rod tip and a lift. Drop, lift, and you do that about once every 30 seconds on a straight vertical presentation. 2 different ways to make crappie bite, and I promise you, they'll bite differently on different days, and you've got to experiment with both. Time for more fishing and lake reports for you.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's Tennessee and Kentucky Fishing Report. You know, unfortunately, as compared to last week, it's gotten pretty tough around here. Historically, the month of September in the Tennessee and Kentucky region is the toughest month out of the year. I think you could poll 10 serious fishermen and you'd probably get the same answer from all 10. September is just real inconsistent. Last week or two, we've had them really biting. We kind of got our hopes up and thought that we had missed the September funk this year, but as it turns out, they were just waiting until closer to the end of the month. But every night that this water gets cooler, it's gonna get a little better, and before long, it's gonna get really good. If you are gonna fish in the Tennessee and Kentucky area in the coming week or two, I would still concentrate on top waters. I would still concentrate on shallow cover, grass and shallow bars. There's some fish. I caught some fish this week in the back of a bay around some grass. But primarily I've been focusing on the main lake, and if there's any current flow at all, that's a plus. Cloudy days are even better. Crappie wise, the crappie have really started to turn on. There's a Crappie Master event that's been going on Kentucky Lake, and they caught them really good. A lot of guys caught them much shallower than anticipated, but just good fishing's right around the corner. The weather's really nice right now, so if you get a chance to come to Tennessee and Kentucky, just plan on having some great weather. The fishing may be a little bit tough right now, but it could change any day. We'd love to see you on the water. God bless.
Straight up and down. I can feel that brush. You lift up on the brush, drop it back, give it a little pop. Take up the slack, lift it again. Got him. There's one. Good one. That's a good keeper. You want to use a net when you're crappie fishing like you see me doing here, because most of the crappie that I've lost in my lifetime have happened when I was lifting that crappie out of the water, and a lot of times they'll flop and flop back into the water. All right. Right now, headed to a commercial break, I want to do two things. Well, first I want to put this fish in the live well. First I want to tell you that we're going to be giving away some great gear on our Twitter feed. So you go to the Twitter address on your screen. We're going to give away 5 Fox Sports Outdoors jerseys, just like the ones I wear here on the show. And we're going to give away a bunch of hooks and some more gear. Lots of great stuff in about a week. Go to our Twitter feed at the address on your screen. All you have to do is follow us, click the follow button on Twitter, and you'll be eligible. The next thing I need to do is tell you that if you'd like to book a trip here, Chuck Rollins has a great guide service on Cedar Creek Lake. BigCrappie.com, easiest website in the world to remember all the information you need to book yourself a guide trip here. Come here and catch you a limit.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors, introducing the XI5 for ultimate boat control. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro segment, where viewers get expert insights from professional anglers. This week's question comes from Eric, who asks, should I put my topwater away once the sun is up, or will bass still bite it later in the day? For the answer, we checked with current Bass Master champion Casey Ashley.
I love to fish topwater. Where I'm from, we're topwater fishermen. My biggest fish, more times than not, come in the 11 to 2 o'clock hour of the day on topwater. You're not going to get very many bites, but you'll catch the biggest fish in the middle of the day on top.
Thanks, Casey. If you have something to ask one of the pros, simply visit our website and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now it's time for the Costa Catch of the Week, where someone wins a brand new pair of sunglasses.
This week's winner in the Costa Catch of the Week contest is Lindsay Offenlock of Huntsville, Alabama. And she is shown here with a 30-pound redfish caught at St. Simon's Island, Georgia. If you'd like to be our next winner, all you need to do is go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, and on the right-hand side of the home page is the Costa Catch of the Week area. Click in that box, send us your photo, and you'll be in the contest. And if you'd like to see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, go back to the front page of our website and click on the Costa logo. It'll take you straight to their website. You can see all the frame styles and lens styles there, including the wonderful frame that I was wearing on this week's episode. It's the Rockport frame in the camo pattern. On the Academy Right Stuff, you'll need 2 very different setups to catch crappie on the 2 techniques we showed you today. First of all, to shoot the docks, you'll need a light action 5.5 foot Lew's Wally Marshall Signature Series crappie rod, and you can see it's very light action, very flexible, and you can completely double it over to shoot that jig back under the docks. Now, to swim over these brush piles and to fish vertically in them, you need a much heavier setup. This is a Lew's American Hero 6.5 foot speed stick. It's got a lot of backbone and a very soft tip. You can feel those strikes very well, and you can swim the jigs through and over the tops of the brush piles, and a portion of every rod purchased goes to an American Hero project to help take some of our wounded warriors fishing. As far as the baits go, you'll need 2 very different sized baits for these 2 different techniques for the crappie. First of all, on the bottom there is the small size to shoot underneath these docks for dock shooting. It's a small Bobby Garland 1/24 ounce Mo-Glo jig head, That blue color seemed to work really well today with the blue and chartreuse slab slayer body. Again, that's a Bobby Garland bait. On the top is a much heavier setup. That's a 1/8 ounce Moglo jig head, and on the back of that, it's a baby shad swimmer to swim across the tops of these brush piles and to fish vertically straight up and down in them. In July of 1972, the rhythm and blues song Lean on Me hit #1 on the charts. It was sung by an artist who is not well known today. His name was Bill Withers, and he had 2 other big hits, Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone, and Just the Two of Us. You may remember those. Here are some of the lyrics to Lean on Me. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Wiser words have never been sung. I think back to one of the darkest times in my life, many years ago when I was making some very destructive choices and about to pay some terrific consequences. I did not have one other guy in my life that could be honest with me, who knew the good and the bad about me, and who could grab me by the collar and help set me straight. Now, many years later, life is much better. Hopefully, I'm making better choices now. The best advice that I can give is this. All of us need a buddy, a good friend that we can be blatantly honest with, who does know the good and the bad, and who has expressed permission to tell us the truth and help set us back on the path if we get off the good path. Yes, the words of the song are absolutely true. None of us can make it alone, and we all need somebody to lean on. I hope you enjoyed our trip today to Cedar Creek Lake in East Central Texas. We'll put up all the contact information one more time for BigCrappie.com. Chuck Rollins' guide service. He can put you on some fish here. However, remember, you can use these same techniques to catch crappie wherever they are, your favorite fishing lake, reservoir, or river. Hey, don't forget, we'll be back on next Thursday at 6 p.m. with the repeat airing Sunday morning at 8:30. And don't forget that you can always see our latest episode 24/7 up on the front page of our website. And right below that latest episode, you can click on the archives button to get all of our past episodes, and you can click on that other link below it, the how-to link. You get lots of product videos and how-to videos that you'll never see here on the television show. And don't forget, you can go to our Twitter feed. You can click the follow button and be eligible to win great prizes like the jerseys that we're going to be giving away next week, along with some other great gear. And you can get lots of fishing news, photos, and video that we don't have time for here on the television show. And you can like us on Facebook, and you'll get a lot of that same kind of information that we can't squeeze into our half-hour show here. Hey, we'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.